color TV certificate and complete details about Monaco mailed to you right away.
Call 1-800-514-8181.
What is a hero? Are heroes born, or are they made? In after-school programs, your kids will uncover hidden strengths, discover they have the power to change their future, and find the hero inside themselves. Let us know you on after-school programs in your area. Call 1-800-USA-LEARN. After-school programs, helping kids find the hero within.
This is CNN.
"8:30 on the East Coast, precisely 1 hour away from one of the most anticipated market openings in recent memory. The New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, other exchanges opening for the first time since the Tuesday attack on New York City and on Washington. In advance of that opening, the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates by 0.5 point. So the first bit of news in advance of the market opening is a good piece of news. Let's recap and bring you up to date. A Pakistani delegation has delivered a U.S. demand to the Taliban government in Afghanistan: turn over Osama bin Laden or face U.S. military action. Wall Street bracing for an initial sell-off when the U.S. financial markets open today. They'll be open for the first time since the attacks. The markets conducted tests over the weekend to make sure they'd operate smoothly. A top Uzbek diplomat says his nation is open to talking with the U.S. about the use of its airspace and bases for an attack on Afghanistan. Uzbekistan borders Afghanistan on the north. New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani says there are 190 confirmed deaths and nearly 5,000 people missing in New York now. Giuliani says some bodies may never be found. President Bush is expected to meet with his national security team today. He will also be meeting with his economic advisors as they all monitor the opening of the stock markets. That brings you up to date. Let's send it back to Paula in New York.
Thanks so much, Miles. And I'm joined now by Dr. Henry Kissinger, the man that so many of us turn to try to unscramble some of the confusion that we are inundated with at the moment. Welcome. Good to have you with us this morning. Let's start off with the latest development. We know that Pakistan's top spy and a former ambassador to Afghanistan have gone to the Taliban and issued a demand: give us Osama bin Laden in the next 3 days or face military action. What's going to happen as a result of that demand, or ultimatum, as some folks call it?
Well, I think it's an ultimatum, and if they refuse, there'll certainly be military action. But I believe we have to go after the Taliban anyway. They've been supporting these terrorist activities all over the area and all over the world, and it isn't enough for them to give up one man. They have to dismantle the structure of terrorism.
Do you have any confidence that someone can accomplish that? I think Madeleine Albright in the last hour said it's like cutting the head of a snake off and having all these other little parts you trail behind.
Well, in part that is correct, but these groups require a base, they require money, they require organization, and if we can get them on the run, and if they have to spend all their energy surviving, they can't plan these meticulously prepared attacks that we saw in New York and in Washington. And it isn't only Afghanistan. There are countries like Syria that have bases, Sudan, some are probably even in Algeria. And we have to put governments on notice that if they extend safe havens to terrorists, they will run the risks that terrorists do.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me this morning that the United States and its allies might find themselves in the position of attacking Syria and perhaps Iraq?
No, I don't think we have to attack Syria, because I think Syria will close down these camps if they're brought under enough pressure. Iraq, I would be open-minded on if they are tied to any of these terrorist networks, they should be attacked.
Let's explore further the impact of Pakistan now offering its support to the United States in exchange for retiring $30 billion worth of debt and some other things it's once taken care of by the United States. There are folks like the Northern Alliance, the opposition front to the Taliban, that says don't trust Pakistan. Do you trust Pakistan?
I don't know. I would judge countries by their performance now, not by their words. The American objective has to be to break up these terrorist organizations. I'm not saying that all has to be done with military force. For example, there could be a ban on travel of any country that has, of citizens of any country that has safe haven for terrorists, added to economic pressures. But in the end, these terrorist groups must have training bases. They prepare these things at great leisure, and it is dangerous for all of us, suicidal, to let them get organized, hit us, then take one retaliatory blow and come back 2 or 3 years later with another disruptive and murderous attack.
So while the Bush administration is exploring military options, it is working around the clock to build a number of different kinds of coalition. Where do you think Russia is in all this?
Well, Russia is in a very curious position, and I hope some of the reports that I have read are true, because no country has been... I was in Russia in July, and I talked to many of their leading people, and their theme was of the danger of fundamentalists and terrorists. Of course, they were thinking in part of Chechnya. Now they seem to be holding back a little bit vis-a-vis Afghanistan, because they must have some pleasure in watching the Americans get involved,
watching them suffer the same fate, yeah.
In Afghanistan. But at the end of the day, all these countries have to understand that they are targets even before we are. We're just a symbol. When they went after us, it was a symbol to everybody else that if even America can be attacked, what chance do you people have? And that's why we need a broad coalition, but we cannot be made dependent on whether everybody agrees.
Secretary of State Colin Powell mentioned that an executive order that was put into place in 1973 on President Ford's watch that forbids assassination, 76, excuse me, yeah, you would know that, you were there, is under review. If that is lifted, and if the U.S. and its allies can specifically target Osama bin Laden, who the president says is the prime suspect, how will that change the efforts in the months to come?
Not much. We're not good at this. If this assassination order was interpreted that we couldn't bomb a building in which Osama is located, then it will free us for that sort of attack. But hiring assassins that go after individuals is not something Americans are very good at. I support whatever Secretary Powell proposed, and altogether I'm impressed by the decisiveness of the administration. So I don't think that will be the key element. The key element will be, one, whether we can generate a concept. Secondly, whether we will keep going. If after our initial, hopefully success, because this is going to be a long effort, as the president has said.
Well, you said that, and yesterday we heard a number of cabinet secretaries repeat that message. What is it that the American public should be prepared for? I heard someone say yesterday, a 10-year war.
Well, it could be a prolonged war, but its intensity will diminish. And after a while, it will be a mopping up operation. And but if we don't do it, what we have to remember is if we don't do it, we will remain permanently vulnerable. People who rely on us, and others even who don't rely on us, are going to be under an even greater threat than we are, and it means that the world will be dominated by terrorists, and we can't tolerate this.
One last question for you. Do you think U.S. intelligence knows where Osama bin Laden is today, as we speak?
Well, they probably don't know the street number, but they have...
Or the cave number.
Or the cave number, but they probably have a general idea of the region where he's located. And we ought to give some credit to our intelligence services, because they've been under tremendous pressure from our domestic institutions, and they've been cut back and harassed and they've had a tough job.
So you're not willing to say U.S. intelligence has failed America?
No. I think U.S. intelligence has been, if you look at one investigation after another, and they have done as good a job as they could under the circumstances.
Dr. Henry Kissinger, good of you to join us during such a turbulent time of our nation's history. Thank you very much for your perspective. We're going to take a short break now, and on the other side of that break, we're going to check in with Bill Hemmer, Lou Dobbs, John King. They're going to take some of your email questions. Just a quick reminder, gin up those questions at attack@cnn.com, and we will try to answer as many of them as we can get to. We'll be back after this very short break. Stay with us.
Refinancing your mortgage may be easier than you think. Just log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-71-FIX.
Today's low fixed rate with 0 points is only 6.750%.
With interest rates lower, now may be a great time to get cash or use the equity in your home to consolidate bills. It's smart money from Ditech.com. Apply online or call us at 1-800-71-FIX.
Among the highest number of graduates in computer science and engineering in the country. Over 4,700 graduates in computer and information sciences. Over 5,000 graduates in engineering, including chemical and bioengineering. And they all graduated from the same place. Just who produces this kind of talent for the workforce each and every year?
Pennsylvania.
After another day of mourning, those left standing continue their search for life and loved ones. And the stage is set for a borderless war, as President Bush promises victory against terrorism. For complete coverage, stay with CNN.
Welcome back. This is what Lower Manhattan looks like today, as some 75,000 workers return to their jobs this morning in and around the financial district, many of them waving American flags, some of them wearing masks. You see some rescue workers there wearing some masks, but in addition to that, companies are handing out those paper masks so folks can be protected from the heavy dust that continues to permeate the area. And believe me, I was down there yesterday, the very strong, acrid smells. We're going to bring you up to date on the rescue effort a little bit later on this morning. Joining us to help us in all of our efforts throughout the morning, John King from near the Capitol this morning, Bill Hemmer, who joins us from outside the New York Stock Exchange, Miles O'Brien, who continues to stand by at the investigation desk in Atlanta, and also joining us in this roundtable discussion to answer some of the questions you have lobbed our way is Lou Dobbs, who joins us now from the floor of the Stock Exchange. Lou, I wanted to start it off with you because we haven't had a chance to talk to you since the Feds announced they are going to drop interest rates. It's cutting the closely watched federal funds rate to 3% from 3.5%, which is the 8th rate cut this year. The reaction down there to this news?
As you say, the 8th rate cut, the 3rd intermeeting cut or surprise cut, and the discount rate, importantly, at 2.5%. The Fed funds rate, as you said, at 3%, the lowest it's been in 9 years. But frankly, the reaction here has been one of caution and, if you will, temperate expectation. Some of these folks talking about they'd rather have seen a more dramatic 1%. But it's almost impossible to tell its impact. But it was not met by cheering or any sort of resounding reaction here. These people are going about serious business, ready to open this market in just about 45 minutes, and it just didn't have any kind of emotional or dramatic impact.
It's interesting you should say that, because Andrew Serwer was on a little bit later on saying what it will do, though, is cause strategies on the floor to change pretty dramatically today. What sort of changes might be made?
Well, Andy is, I'm sure is absolutely right, but I think most of the strategies that are put in place here will not be dependent on monetary policy, and certainly short-term rates being moved this dramatically. It's symbolic, it's helpful in the long term. But today, what the exchange